But there's all the villagers were in there, and it was not paved with cement. It was sandy and gravel and plain dirt with a few flowers planted here and there.
So after Paris, what happened next?
Paris was a great big free-for-all. Everybody was welcomed. The assault troops, of which I was one, we passed through there 3 days and nights before the legal victory day was declared, the taking of Paris. Victory, we went on through because our main concern was to stay on the heels of the retreating Germans as quickly and stay right behind them and harass them, and as I said, pick up any prisoners that we could overtake at the same time, destroy any of the equipment that they were tracking. And it was a wild run after Paris, from Paris up to, I remember the last big French city was way east of Paris, and that was called the city of Soissons. My spelling is not accurate, but it would be something like Soissonne, Soissons. I'm not sure of the spelling, but that is, and that was pretty far beyond Paris. And shortly thereafter, Jim, we bumped into the Siegfried Line. Let's make it September 1st for general calendar reference, and that's where we came to a halt, because that's where we ran into the German defenses. They had dragon teeth there to stop our trucks and tanks, and all the crossroads and the approaches to them were heavily mined. So were the fields that led up to them, and also they were heavily manned by German artillery and defenses. So we had to call a halt there, because even if we penetrated the Siegfried Line, we wouldn't get very far into Germany, because the Germans were well fortified, well prepared, and well supplied, and all of our combat units were not into full shape at all and to penetrate. So we called a halt there for about...
No, up until this point, you hadn't sustained any injuries or...
Not physical injuries, falling off trucks and having shells, rocks from shelling would hit us in the head once in a while, or bombing once in a while. We were hit, let me think now, we were bombed one night in Cerisi Forest. That would be somewhere short of St. Lo. At night, there was a German flight. I'm going to guess it was about 12 medium bombers, not the Junkers, but they were the Ju-8. No, the Ju-8 was the German. The Henkels, yeah, 119. The Henkels 119. They bombed the living hell out of us. They caught us in the forest. Don't ask me to this day how they knew we were there. We had only been there 48 hours in the camping there, fortified. But how they knew we were there is beyond me, unless there was some French spy who could have tipped them off, the German Heinkels. And I was hiding behind logs, and boy, the dirt and shells and debris was just showering all over me like a rainstorm. And let me say what else about that. Oh yes, one of the first scares I had from a bombing raid was that now this was somewhere around after midnight. There was bombers flying all over our heads. How they had us pinpointed again is beyond me. And our aircraft, anti-aircraft, 40 millimeter Bofors was shooting up at them, and they hit one. They hit it in the air. We caught on fire one of the bombers. And so help me, Jim. I think you're mathematically inclined enough to know if you see a ball of fire in that dark pitched night, and that ball of fire, which is the burning plane, just hangs in the air, and you don't see it going to either side or up or down, you'll know that's coming right straight at you. Mathematical, that's
And getting bigger.
geometry.
Yeah.
And that happened to me, and let me tell you, I won't tell you what it did, but luckily it crashed into a clump of trees. I'm going to say like about from here to your house, to Jim's house, and it exploded there. But you tell me, that was one real scare I had. A ball of fire coming right straight at you.
Yeah.
No sideline at all, or up or down.
For reference, that's about a football field away. Yeah.
Yes, and it came out of the black sky, it was hit, and it just hung right up. It was not on purpose, just a mathematical coincidence. So that was one big, of course they had dropped bombs all over us and all around us, fragments, shells. I think one of our trucks got hit and burned up, but that was far away.
Your
Okay.
first 3 months on the continent, you were pretty much across France.
Yes,
And I just want to get a sense of like what day to day, what that was like. What was the food like, for example?
oh, we were on K rations. Sometimes if we stayed put in any one area for any length of time, they'd get some hot food up to us. They were able to bring up the kitchen, the portable kitchens, with the army stoves and our mess kits, and they'd serve hot food, mostly spam and potatoes and corn. And what was the other mainstay they had there? The breakfast was always they'd make a few pancakes once in a while, and what was that? Mostly spam, and there was came in 1 gallon cans, a mixture of powdered eggs with chopped up bacon mixed in with it. I don't know what the name of it was. It was the equivalent of spam at the time, and
Breakfast spam.
yeah, SPAM.
How did you get enough sleep? I mean, were you?
Well, we couldn't sleep too strongly, Jim, because we had a very essential regimentation of guard duty.
Mm-hmm.
And the guard duty, depending on how many men were available, we'd sleep 4 hours and be on guard duty right around the clock if we weren't firing. And so we'd be on guard in couples, pairs, in case one guy would sleep, his buddy would wake him up in a trench. And then we'd be spelled off, and we'd go back to sleep for 4 hours, back behind the bushes somewhere. Then after 4 hours, the second watch group would wake us up again, and we'd go to sleep. And that was tough, because you try waking yourself up every 4 hours when you're tired and been digging all day long, or firing, or shooting, or jacking up a cannon or something. That's not much of a sleep. But we had guard duty throughout the night, starting at I think it was 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. That went right around the routine, guard duty.
So we're in Germany by about September of '44.
When we hit the Siegfried Line, our position was around Aachen. Aachen, Germany, which is on the north end and anchor point for the Siegfried Line. And from Aachen, which is north of, way north of Cologne, but come west, Cologne would be on more or less up to the Rhine River on the interior. But, okay. Well, from Aachen south, let's say, down to Hürtgen, and that's about it. Yeah, that was the spam. I should say of our line. But there were other divisions in there as well as our own. and they were just waiting for everything to group up, regroup, to reorganize and reestablish our boundaries, our combat zones, and before the final assault into Hurricane.
Let's tell us about that.
Well, the assault into Hurricane started, I'll say, damn it, just when the rain began. We got rain. September was a great month, but it was a month whereby much of the army and the supplies had to be brought up from France, from Normandy, and or from Estavayer, and or from the beaches, and from the various other ports of Le Havre, and they had